What's up, everybody? It's your boy Jersey Boy and Brooks. Follow me on Facebook at Jersey Boy and Brooks. Or subscribe to my YouTube channel, Jersey Boy and Brooks. We'll chop it up. Real quick, I just want to make a rebuttal response to this cooning ass nigga Tony Stone. You know, the brothers on YouTube saying that all black people are on welfare and black people all don't know their fathers and shit like that. I just want to respond to that, saying that, for one, if you knew anything, you would know that mostly white Americans make up the numbers for government assistance. Our Hispanics are other immigrant groups, not black people. Only people that make up the welfare really is black single women. I can see if you said that most black people come from broken homes and not married and shit like that. That's true, but I know my dad. For me, and I can name about 20, 30 black people that know their fathers. For me, my father raised me. So the thing is, the white supremacists already brainwashed some of you immigrants, and you come over here and you have this negative perception of us. And you think that we all lazy and we just thugs and shit like that. And that's not true. I have never been in jail, and your talking points are so weak and they're so invalid. You feel me? And they're so illogical. They're easy to just be debunked. Everything you're saying is just not true. Not all black people are on welfare. I'm sorry to tell you that. You see what I'm saying? That's what Donald Trump and Donald Trump say, and Bill O'Reilly's and shit like that. They say little racist shit like that about us. And you go and believe it, you feel me? And that's the thing, like, and another thing I want to unpack, you saying that black people don't deserve reparations. But if you knew anything about history, you would know that the government was going to reward the government was going to reward black people reparations back in the 60s. I think John F. Kennedy was president, or Lyndon B. Johnson. They had a bill passed to Congress. The bill actually wasn't passed, but it was a bill that actually got to Congress that they was going to give black people reparations. So black people don't deserve reparations. How come the government was going to give it to us? How can you say black people don't deserve reparations? Like Native American people, Jewish people, Japanese people, and all these other groups receive reparations from the government from their suffering. But when it comes to us, it's like, oh, for me, we don't deserve reparations. You know, this shit is stupid, you know. How come all these other people got their benefits and their resources from the government, but when it comes to black people, people just turn their head? You feel me? How come black people, how can you say black people don't deserve reparations? I'm sorry, I'm kind of drunk. You know, these talking points that people use, you know, they're kind of dangerous because they're not true. And they were supposed to give black people reparations a long time ago. You feel me? And the sad part is, you know, you say that black people was never born during never born during slavery, and we never met anyone that was a slave. It's 2019. We know that already. Nobody's telling Jewish people, hey, you guys were never born during the Holocaust. You cannot disassociate history from black people. You can't take away history from black people, because when you say that, like, oh, you guys were never born during slaves, you're taking away the history. Even though I was never born during a slave, I appreciate the sacrifices that they made. Why can't I appreciate the sacrifices that they made? Someone had to die and give up their life so we can have the freedom that we have today. Just like white people, they celebrate their Independence Day, July 4th, from the freedom they got from the British. Just like all these other groups, they celebrate their Independence Day. No one's telling them, hey, you guys wasn't born back then. People don't say shit like that, but when it comes to us, they try to minimize what has happened to us. Oh, you guys was never born during slavery. What's the definition of an ancestor? An ancestor is someone from which you come from. So how can you say, hey, you guys was never born during slavery, or we never went through no hard labor, nothing like that? Let me tell you something. My grandparents lived through those Jim Crow laws in the 60s. Some of my aunt and uncles that came to the North to get away from the racism in the South. So don't tell me we cannot relate. Like, that's not true, you feel me? I appreciate the sacrifices that was made. Of course we were never born during slavery. It's 2019. But these talking points are so unintelligent, people don't stop to think about them, you feel me? And then you just go and repeat them. You know? At this point, you just, nobody can solidify an answer as to why black people don't deserve reparations. Or you guys was never born during slavery. But Jewish people today, they weren't born during the Holocaust. Native American people wasn't born when white people came and took their land and destroyed it. They weren't born back then. But we don't say shit like that to them. But when it comes to us, it's all black people just get over and just forget. We feel the pain and we understand sacrifices that those African slaves made. They had to become what the system made. So what I'm supposed to just forget about that? As a black person, I'm supposed to just say, oh, I wasn't born back then? That's coon talk. That's coon talk right there. Nobody's, like Haitian people, for example. Haitian people, after their rebellion, they had to pay the French reparations. And this how much of history you know, even after slavery, black people had to pay slave owners. In fact, the slave owners got reparations from the government. They got reparations from the government. That's a fact. But a lot of you people just so just misinformed that you just look past this shit, man. You feel me? And this shit is ridiculous, man. And how can you say black people don't deserve reparations when our economic base was sabotaged? Historically speaking. If you look at Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street back in the 1920s, black people had a very successful economic base. And the government sent in planes to actually drop bombs on this wealthy area. The white supremacists call them race riots, but race riots were nothing but white people going in wealthy black areas, destroying the economic base. If we talk about Rosewood, we talk about Wilmington, the list goes on. So how can you say black people don't deserve reparations? What do you tell the descendants today? Black people have always had a hard time trickling that wealth to one generation to the next because we have been economically we have been cut off, you feel me? Our economic base has been sabotaged. So, you guys never solidify an answer to why black people don't deserve no type of benefits. Our economic base has been cut off by the government, and that's true. Because every time black people build an economic base, it was taken out. Just look at the history. And I'm not just talking from the 1960s. If we want to talk about redlining was what House and Authority officials actually denied black people certain business loans to start businesses. That's why when you go in certain areas, you only see 2 or 3, 4, 5 black people in areas because we was denied certain business loans to actually start businesses in certain areas. And this crippled black people. We weren't allowed to move to the suburbs and places like that. Black people were kept in ghettos. And then when we did have a successful economic base, they built freeways right through them, especially down there in Miami and in Detroit. But you don't know history. All you know is the racist talking points that they say to us. So you're brainwashed believing that black people just lazy and we all on welfare. So if you want to comment, follow me on Facebook, Jersey Boy and Brooks. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Jersey Boy and Brooks. So chop it up.